Some cars make you say, wow, because of how brilliantly engineered they are. And then there are cars that make you stare at the dashboard and wonder if you're about to launch a missile. The question is, why would anyone build a car that even the engineers are afraid to fix? From self-centering steering wheels to air suspension systems that rely on pressure sensors and even climate control units with 27 motors just to blow air at your toes, these masterpieces are proof that unrestrained technology can turn a great car into a four-wheeled nightmare. In this video, we'll dive into 10 mass-produced cars packed with ideas so complicated they cross into the absurd. Not just technical missteps, but cautionary tales about the fine line between innovation and insanity. And who knows, maybe one of them was once your dream car. BMW 745. I launched in 2001. The BMW 745 IE65 was a bold attempt to redefine luxury, but it ended up as an expensive lesson in unnecessary complexity. With the first-generation iDrive system, even simple tasks like adjusting the climate control or tuning the FM radio became a puzzle game. Its electronics included more than 70 individual control modules, all linked via a complex CAN bus network, making repairs difficult even for professional mechanics. Resetting the system required special software and deep knowledge of automotive electronics. Add to that an electronic gear selector, smart key, self-leveling suspension, and countless sensors. This car was basically a rolling computer, but not in a good way. The result? Owners frequently had to visit dealerships just to do basic things, like replacing a battery or updating software. And if one module failed, say, the seat control, it could trigger a cascade of system-wide errors. The BMW 745 IE65 stands as proof that too much tech can overshadow the driving experience. And sometimes, a simple knob is better than a 3D rotating screen. Citroen SM. The Citroen SM is one of the boldest and weirdest cars ever to hit the road. Produced from 1970 to 1975, it was Citroen's attempt to build a grand tourer that combined French smoothness with power from Maserati. Sounds great? On paper, yes. But in practice, it was a technical labyrinth that left many owners defeated. The SM featured self-leveling hydropneumatic suspension. Riding it felt like floating on a cloud. But if the hydraulic system leaked, the car would squat like a flat tire. Then there's the Diravi steering, which self-centers the wheel, even when you don't want it to, resulting in a very strange steering feel. Its Maserati-sourced V6 engine was mated to a complex drivetrain that demanded surgical precision to maintain. And if you're thinking about repairs, know this: few mechanics dare touch an SM without specialist training. Volkswagen Feton. The Volkswagen Feton wasn't a bad car. In fact, it was hand-built in a glass-walled factory in Germany with build quality approaching that of Bentley. The problem? It was too smart for its own good. Ferdinand Piëch, the legendary CEO of VW, made insane demands. The car had to be able to drive 300 kilometers per hour in 50 degrees Celsius heat, even though it was electronically limited, and no one would actually need that. The climate system had over 20 independent motors, just to ensure that air reached each passenger's toes with perfect precision. Feton's electronics were so complex that many mechanics had to be retrained just to replace the battery without damaging the ECU. Its interior interface was both minimalistic and maddening. The seats had dozens of adjustable modes: massage, cooling, heating, but users had to navigate deep menus to turn anything on or off. The Volkswagen Feton was VW's attempt to match the S-Class and 7 Series. But instead of creating a flagship, they built a technological masterpiece no one truly asked for: Cadillac Eldorado Brom. In 1958, Cadillac set out to do something unprecedented. A luxury sedan so grand, even Rolls-Royce would take notice. The result was the Eldorado Brom, a hand-built masterpiece that cost twice as much as any other Cadillac, and was complicated to the point of absurdity. It featured self-leveling air suspension, cutting edge at the time, but highly prone to leaks and instability. When the system failed, the car could literally collapse in the street, like it had a flat tire. There were no traditional door handles, only electronic push buttons. Sound futuristic? The problem was that the system was notoriously unreliable. Owners frequently found themselves locked out due to electrical glitches. Inside, it came with a vanity kit, including a silver mirror, comb, pillbox, and even a custom perfume bottle. But behind the glamour was a nightmare of complex wiring, hard to fix, and even harder to find someone willing to do it. The Eldorado Brom wasn't just Cadillac's most expensive car at the time. It was a case study in how cramming every best idea into one vehicle can result in something nobody actually wants to drive daily. Mercedes-Benz CL600. Launched in the early 2000s, the Mercedes-Benz CL600 was the definition of high-tech luxury. But when everything in the car runs on electronics and hydraulics, you can imagine what happens when just one thing stops working. This V12 coupe featured active body control suspension, a hydraulic marvel that adjusted ride height and body roll in real time. Sounds amazing? Until the system starts leaking and replacement costs exceed the car's resale value. Inside, the cabin was a web of electronic modules: power seats with memory, massage and cooling, automatic sunshades, dimming mirrors, soft close doors, and the command system, which controlled everything from radio to navigation. But here's the catch: if one module fails, it can trigger a cascade of system errors. The V12 engine itself was powerful, but stuffed with so many sensors and wires that servicing it required near artist-level skill. Many mechanics outright refused to work on this car without factory tools. The CL600 was once a symbol of German engineering at its peak, but time has shown that luxury doesn't always mean reliability, especially when that luxury depends on 40 separate electronic modules. Subaru XT6. In the late 1980s, Subaru set out to prove they could build a futuristic sports car. The result was the XT6, a wedge-shaped AWD coupe with spaceship styling, a cockpit-like dashboard, and tech that was ahead of its time, perhaps too far ahead. First up, the car featured electronic power steering, one of the earliest on the market. Without a traditional hydraulic setup, the steering felt weird and offered unnatural feedback, especially at high speeds. It also came with air suspension that let drivers raise or lower the ride height with the push of a button. Sounds cool? Not when the system started leaking mid-drive, leaving the car squatting like a deflated balloon. Inside, digital gauges, strange button layouts, and adjustable driving modes made it feel like you were prepping for launch, not just starting a car. The problem? XT6 was simply too complex for the service standards of its time. Its electronics were glitchy, replacement parts were rare, and the suspension wasn't built to last decades. The Subaru XT6 was a technological dream turned real-world headache, a car where innovation came with a hefty repair bill. Alfa Romeo 164 Quadrifoglio. If any automaker has the guts to design a luxury sedan with raw sporting spirit and a touch of unpredictable flair, it's Alfa Romeo. And the 164 Quadrifoglio is a textbook example. At first glance, the 164 QV is striking, with its powerful Busso V6 engine, leather interior, and a dashboard angled toward the driver like a fighter jet cockpit. But don't be fooled by its looks. Beneath that seductive shell lies an electrical system moodier than your ex. The 164 QV is notoriously sensitive to humidity. A light rain could trigger panicked sensors and light up warning indicators like a Christmas tree. The electronic climate control had a mind of its own, and the digital dash occasionally forgot how to display. The V6 engine sounded and felt fantastic, but when paired with an unusual automatic transmission and tight emissions controls, it often stumbled or struggled to start. The Alfa Romeo 164 QV proves that a car can be both seductive and temperamental. And sometimes, what you love most about it is also what drives you crazy. Infiniti Q50. The Infiniti Q50 debuted in 2014 with a bold claim to be the first production car with a steer-by-wire system, meaning the steering wheel had no physical connection to the front wheels. Instead of a traditional steering shaft, the Q50 used electronic sensors to detect wheel input, sent signals to a controller, which then adjusted the front wheels. The idea was to tailor steering feedback based on road conditions and driving style. The problem? Real steering feel disappeared. Many drivers described it as playing a video game with an Xbox controller. No weight, artificial feedback, and occasional lag. Even though Infiniti included a mechanical backup system in case of failure. Some questioned the reliability of software in emergency situations. Worse still, the system could automatically tweak steering angles depending on the road, leading to an unpredictable feel, especially during high-speed cornering. The Infiniti Q50 is a prime example of a key lesson. Just because you can remove a physical link doesn't mean you should. Steer-by-wire may be the future, but if the driving feel is lost, then it's no longer a car, it's a battery-powered simulator. Mazda 626 Kronos 4WS. In 1991, Mazda wanted to prove they could do more than build fun cars. They could innovate. And they did, with the 626 Kronos equipped with four-wheel steering. But instead of offering superior handling, it created more headaches than smiles. The 4WS system used a combination of hydraulics and electronics to control the rear wheels. At low speeds, they turned opposite the front wheels for better maneuverability. At high speeds, they turned in the same direction for stability. On paper, brilliant. In practice, not so much. The system was extremely sensitive and tricky to calibrate. Realigning the rear steering required specialized tools, and even minor misadjustments made the car drift while driving straight. To make things worse, sensors and control modules were prone to failure over time, especially in humid environments or cars with aging wiring. And because this tech was rare, most mechanics either didn't know how or simply refused to work on it. The Mazda 626 4WS is clear proof that sometimes the rear wheels should just do what they were born to do. Roll, not steer. Chevrolet SSR. The Chevrolet SSR, short for Super Sport Roadster, is one of the strangest vehicles ever to roll out of General Motors. Pickup truck? Check. Convertible? Check. Retro styling like a 1950s custom hot rod? Check. But when you try to cram everything into one car, usually nothing works well. Built on the Trailblazer SUV platform, the SSR was a two-door pickup with a retractable hardtop, a structure that was both heavy and complex. The power roof used multiple motors and sensors, could take nearly 30 seconds to open or close, and was prone to failure without regular maintenance. To make matters worse, the engine bay was so cramped that changing spark plugs or air filters felt like open-heart surgery. Some owners joked, "You have to remove half the front end just to check a wire." Even though later models came with the powerful LS2 V8, the SSR weighed over 2 tons, so performance never lived up to the muscle-bound styling. Towing? Weak. Cargo space? Minimal. Off-road? Not a chance. The SSR is a textbook example of this truth. When you try to do everything, you rarely do anything well. We've just gone through one strange journey where cars weren't mocked for lacking technology, but rather for cramming in too much without control. From wire-free steering, rear wheels that had a mind of their own, to roofs that took half a minute to close, each of these cars proves one thing. Sometimes what makes a car stand out is also what drives people crazy. And the biggest thing they all have in common? They started with good intentions. But when creativity outruns real-world usability, driving stops being a joy and becomes a technical exam. So how about you? Which car on this list scared or annoyed you the most? Or have you ever owned something even more over-engineered? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this ride, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss even crazier machines in the videos to come.